Hans, did you want to follow up? No?
Well, I somehow get the feeling that because of our location, things we just sit back and everything's fine. I mean, if everything was so fine, I've never seen more empty store spaces in downtown South Miami than I see now, including the building I'm in, which is one of the most reasonably rated buildings that I know of. And if it was so easy, why aren't more businesses staying alive down there? Okay?
And we'll reverse. We'll start with Bob and work our way back 30 seconds each.
Okay. Remember that it's the economy that messed you guys up much, much more than any lack of diligence from our services or lack of hearing from our commissioners. I was talking at a forum with the downtown merchants. I'm looking at a blank storefront, and I got the idea that we need art students to display their art in the vacant storefronts, so at least they look pleasing and they don't look like they're causing a dead zone. Thank you.
Armando, 30 more seconds on merchants.
Unfortunately, those art displays don't pay rent, which do not increase the tax revenue to the city. Again, to promote business, nightlife, restaurants, stores, is the primary importance that a commission has, because it protects. The commission's here to protect the resident and the community as a whole. How do you protect it? By keeping the taxes low and providing them with the services they require, they want, and they need without paying higher taxes.
Thank you.
By promoting business in a controlled manner, you can achieve that.
Thank you. Gabriel, 30 more seconds.
One of the roles I view of a commissioner is to promote our city. And if I was elected, I would certainly promote the city. I think we have a great story to tell. And because we live here, we think people know it, but a lot of people don't know it. And there are a lot of businesses out there who are good businesses that are looking for places to be, and they don't know about South Miami. And, I want to promote this city and tell our story, and maybe we can fill some of those things. And that's one of the roles that I see for myself as a commissioner.
Thank you. The next question is going to come from Pastor Rodney James of the Concerned Clergy of South Miami. And we'll start with Armando, then Bob, then Gabriel.
I learned last round when I asked this question that maybe I need to speak with a little more specificity as I ask this question and reference again historically that the question I'm about to ask pertains to the African American community, which Mr. John Smith pointed out to all of us at the beginning of this forum, that you could make the argument that there probably would not be a South Miami without the historically African American community here, because we predate the city. With that in mind, as we're talking about development and good growth and smart growth, a lot of the times that growth is what we call regentrification. Regentrification inordinately impacts African Americans in those communities by displacing them. What we want to do is preserve the African American community here in South Miami and also increase it. So my question is, what is your plan specifically, and give us some details as to what you would do to revitalize the historically African American community here in South Miami?
First, Armando.
Pastor, very good question. Again, if you notice, when we talk about downtown South Miami, we're talking about Sunset Drive there. It's always been a wonder to me why we don't have in the African community, American African community, a downtown as well. Why don't we have restaurants? Why don't we have stores? Why don't we have offices? Again, it's not a matter of displacing. When I mean development, I mean controlled growth. Yes, we need more affordable housing, without a doubt. But we also need to promote the business sector of that community. I hate to use that community because we're all one, really. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We're 2 miles square. We need to
in theory, but that community gets hit harder than any other community.
And I understand that, and I agree with you totally. What I would like to see is, and the business community can also agree with me, I hope they would agree with me, that business is not restricted just to Sunset Drive or to the east side of the highway. We need to move it to the west. By doing that, you increase the population of that area, the job sources for that area, and the quality of life for that area.
I want to, and you hit on something that businesses need to develop there, but as you are developing the city of South Miami, the downtown area, don't you think, and I hope they give you some time to respond to this too, but this is to everybody, don't you think that it is also important that we put the same infrastructure in the African American community so that businesses might be pulled to that community? But at this point, there are no buildings, no infrastructures for businesses to move right in and develop. It would be a tremendous startup cost for a business in that African American community, as it is.
Let's have Armando 30 more seconds, and the other candidates get a minute and a half each.
Totally agree with you, Pastor. But and you're saying it would be a tremendous cost to who? Because if we have a business, we have a developer, we have an industrial site, we have an office building, we have somebody, the cost is to them. We can give them incentives to build, but the cost is to them, not to us. We're not going to displace anybody. We have enough vacant lots there and land to develop that area.
The cost at this point would be to the person who wants to start the business. If you get a developer in, sure, but at this moment there is no infrastructure for business like there is downtown.
You mean funding those businesses is what?
No.
Okay.
Putting buildings in place, shopping areas in place to attract business into those places.
Absolutely, and that was my issue. Yeah. We have to promote it and move it towards that side of the highway. That's absolutely, you're absolutely correct. Without that, you can't grow and you can't improve in that community.
Okay. Bob, minute and a half to respond to the pastor's questions.
Yeah, Reverend James, you talked about gentrification, but I'd like to, talk about a different kind of gentrification that would be within the African American community via education. Valerie Newman saw that the city manager pulled money from the after-school house and found a way when we were doing the last budget to put the money back in to keep the fees that parents would pay for their kids to be in that program reasonable. Education is the way that many GIs, climb the economic ladder through the GI Bill. Unfortunately, when you look at establishing a new prison, the people that crunch the numbers look at the reading level of third grade students, and if they're below level, then then the people that build the prisons, find sites, where they build prisons. There was a thriving business community in the African American community in the bad old days during segregation. Integration happened, competition happened, it dried up. I don't have all the answers. I'll look. Thank you.
You suggested the education model. There are three major reasons why African American communities collapse. One is jobs, the second is housing, and the third is education. And education really relates to the upwardly mobile African American. They move, they go to college, they get educated, but they have no job or home to come back to, so they have to go somewhere else. So it really all comes back to the money again. So what kind of development will we do in those communities?
We're to Gabriel's minute and a half on this, Pastor, so we can give everybody a chance to respond to your comments.
Pastor James, thank you for your question. I think to answer your question, I'd want to bring capital into the community, and there are different types of capital. The first capital I would look at is human capital. I'm a graduate of a historically black college. I went to Howard University, and a lot of my colleagues who are down here have graduate degrees, business degrees, and a lot of people don't know about South Miami, don't know about our historic African-American community, and they're looking for a place where they can make roots. And if we can tell our story to this group of people, they can come into our community and they can create jobs, they can start businesses because they have the skill set, the knowledge, etc. So human capital, I'll look at human capital, that's number one. development. We need development as well because we need jobs in the African American community. And I'm supportive of projects, for example, Madison Square, you talked about earlier. I'm supportive of Madison Square so long as we can do it in a way where we maintain the hometown feel and we can set an anchor that can bring jobs into the African American community. As well, affordable housing. I've been up and down the CRA. I've been talking to voters and citizens, and the issue of affordable housing has been a concern with people. And I know from my time as a congressional aide in Washington, D.C., there are programs, for example, the low-income housing tax credit, where developers can build more affordable housing. That might be something that we can look at as well. But most importantly, I want to hear from you and other leaders as to what you need, and we can work together to make things happen and be a partner, if you will, in moving the community forward.
Thank you. So each of the candidates should have had a minute and a half to respond to very serious and multiple concerns there. But let's get another question in. Over here to Shawn Cruz from South Miami Hometown Inc.
The 5 of 5 commission approval was brought up earlier with regards to a change of use variance issue. We've all spoken a little bit about some sort of encouragement for developers to come in. If we get into something where it's requiring a 5 of 5, how do you as a commissioner, I mean, I know all of you have been following what's going on in the city of South Miami, but you know, between the three of you or one of you and the other candidates, are you in favor of the 5 of 5? And if so, how do you expect anything to pass on a 5 of 5? And if you are if you're in favor of it, how do you expect anything to pass? And then if we don't pursue this encouraging of development, where else do you see revenues coming from to help areas like the CRA?
Actually, Gabriel is first on this one, a minute each.
At this time, I'd say I am for the 5 for 5. It was approved by a large segment of voters, and I'd have to accept the verdict of the people. That's the first role of an elected official, to accept the verdict of the people. Having said that, though, I do want to engage the business community, and if there are projects that make sense, then as leaders, you have to stand up and have a dialogue with the citizens and your constituents to say, this is a project that may be worthy of us actually doing something. And the most important thing is collegiality. When I get up here, if I get up here, I'll have 4 other colleagues, and you have to work with your colleagues to try to solve problems and see when you can come to consensus. And I think that's where I'm at right now.
To Armando.
You hit a soft spot with me with the 5 on 5. Although as a citizen, and I think Voltaire said, I don't have to agree with what you say, but I will give my life to defend your right to say it. And the citizens spoke when they voted for that 5 to 5. I think they were not informed totally of what the consequences of that might be. I personally think it's unconstitutional. I practiced law for 23 years. I think that violates what a democracy is. Democracy is based on the majority rules, not a totalitarian government where one person can dictate the outcome of the whole by just one vote, can control the outcome of any situation by just one person. It holds the commission hostage. It holds the city hostage. Again, we have to abide by what the voters said. We have to follow the rule of law by what they passed. I think it will be challenged in the future, and then again the city will be under another filing of suits against it, paying more money for all these suits that we've had in the last several years.
And Bob.
Yeah, Armando, democracy established the 5 of 5, right? Yeah. Okay. I could expect a question bashing 5 of 5 from Shawn, because in your front lawn you had a sign opposing 5 of 5.
Down in Palmetto Bay where I live?
No, when you were in South Miami.
Oh.
Okay? I know where you lived. If something's really good, if a project is really good, then the commissioners are going to go for it. That's why the citizens passed 5 of 5 for land use change as well as for bond issues over $1 million. Thank you.
I've got some questions here